So as you may have noticed, Jon Stewart has reemerged in order to talk about all the things, but in particular his new Apple TV show called The Problem with Jon Stewart, which is pretty interesting, which you should definitely check out. So he went on with Jake Tapper and had some pointed criticism of the media that we found very interesting. Let's take a listen to that.
Of attention, Governor Gavin Newsom in California just signed a law requiring gender-neutral toy sections in stores. There's obviously a lot of debate across the country, not all of it well-informed, about critical race theory and how race is taught in schools. Do you have concerns about how these debates are taking place? Obviously, I'm not talking about how they're depicted in right-wing media, because it doesn't matter what the Democrats do or liberals do for right-wing media to lie about it. But there are a number of independent voters who might not understand what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of things a lot of people don't understand, and something's either right and common sense. I mean, I do think there are ways to accomplish some of these goals in ways but you can't govern to the lowest common denominator. You can't. I think one of the difficulties, and again, it's with the way that the lens through which we view everything is based on, and what will that mean for the midterms? Or what I saw a great headline in Politico as Afghanistan was descending into chaos in that final week. And the headline in Politico, this was the top line headline, the one with the 40 point font, whatever it was. It said, "Why Afghanistan may not matter in the midterms." And then the subhead was, "And why it might."
Wow. I think they have a point. They have a point.
But that's our journalism, right, man? Isn't that like, how many times have you seen stories about the battle over masks? That's the Karen yelling in the store and the people throwing them out and all that. And how many stories have we seen about the efficacy of masks or the why? Or the actual, there are some, but the overwhelming majority of stories seek to expose the conflict lines.
100%.
Pretty astute commentary there. Right. I'm wondering if he's a Breaking Points fan, because it sounds like something we might have said on here. But
he's too much of a boomer to watch YouTube.
Yeah, probably so. It's too flattering to my ego to imagine that. But it's really interesting because Jake Tapper asked him this incredibly long and meandering question, but essentially breaks down to, do you think this critical race theory stuff is going to be a problem for Democrats in the midterm? I mean, that's effectively what his long, rambling, incoherent question amounted to. So basically, weigh in on this hot culture war topic that you've never said anything about, and what the political implications are going to be. And Jon Stewart's just basically like, this question you just asked me is the whole problem with journalism. Because rather than even asking about, well, what do you actually think about how children should be taught? And what do you think about, the content of their education, as if Jon Stewart would be the expert that you would consult on this anyway? It's all framed through this partisan political lens. And then the second part that he talks about there with the Karens and the masks and whatever the viral video clip is, what he's getting at there is, rather than focusing on either the information itself about, hey, here's why masks are important, or here's what the research shows about whether they work or not, it's got to go to that culture war flashpoint. And of course, it's all directed at the individual people versus any of the systemic or structural institutions that, led to people having a variety of views, some of them accurate and some of them inaccurate.
I love how he talks about the conflict lines. He's exactly right. And how many times have we talked about this, about the reconciliation package? They're like 1.5 trillion versus 2. I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah.
What is in that 500 billion? Where I come from, 500 billion, that's a lot of money. What just got cut? What's not getting cut? What's in it? What's not in it? What does this even mean to you whatsoever? This is why nobody in DC, including the media, know how to actually communicate. We were talking earlier this week about the strike, the Great Resignation, the strikes, and all of that. And it's almost entirely a blue collar phenomenon, which is why it's, if it is discussed, it's like aliens, you know, who are acting in a way that we must analyze. And if it's not, it's because they're doing stuff about January 6th or, you know, some other stupid Beltway type topic. He's exactly right, which is they only know how to cover stuff with the conflict line. And actually, there is a real conflict line. We covered about Starbucks, right? There's a conflict line between management and the bosses and the workers, but they don't know how to cover.
They're not interested in that conflict line.
They're not interested in that conflict line whatsoever.
Is not just uninteresting to them, but it's a problem for them.
It's a huge problem.
And for the narrative that they're, you know, trying to sell on a daily basis.
Right.
So always interesting. I'm not sure Jake Tapper really understood what pointed criticism that was and what a total rejection.
Right at him. He was he's like, screw your bullshit.
Yeah, of the segment that he ultimately wanted to take them in. But I've definitely missed Jon Stewart. I went back and watched a bunch of old Daily Show. And he's been missed because I think he is a very astute observer and also a very effective advocate for the causes that he takes on. But man, watching old Colbert and like when he was a correspondent on The Daily Show,
sad.
And to see how far he's fallen and how tremendously unfunny and cringe he is now is definitely sad. It's a tragedy, honestly.
Very sad.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll have more for you later. Hey, guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.